Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day along the Columbia River, August 23rd, 2025. And I'm in the Oregon side of the river. The south side of the Columbia River is Oregon. And I'm in a trailhead for the historic Columbia River Trail. Columbia River Highway State Trail. And Oregon does a good job about trail information. So this is 4.5 miles. I'm planning on doing maybe 3 miles and then return back to this location. Incline is 5%, cross slope, and it's 10 to 18 feet wide. And surface is firm, and I take that to just mean it's paved. Another thing I found is that my campground registration works for this park. So normally I would have to pay $12 at this little machine to park at the trailhead. But since I have my current state park campground receipt, that's going to be free for me. And actually I just had it on my phone, and I just wrote the registration number on a piece of paper and put it on the dash. I hope that's acceptable to him, because I really didn't feel like paying another $12 on top of my campground registration fee. So I just went to the car and put this piece of paper. I did pay, and I have my receipt. So I just wrote the reservation number, check-in and check-out date. Today's August 23rd. So Oregon allows you to use these trailheads for free when you're camping in their campgrounds, which is really nice. So I'll update you when we get started on the trailhead. Okay, so we're about 100 yards down the hill from the parking lot, and we're entering the trail where vehicles aren't allowed to go. Motorized vehicles prohibited. And to my right a little bit is the Columbia River down there, and we're headed downhill. The slope is maybe 5% down. So far the trail looks real nice. Okay, there's one lot. I actually tried this lot when I first came in, but it turns out these are all handicapped spaces, so the handicapped can park closest to the trailhead, which is good. And there's the sign: State Trail, Historic Columbia River Highway. And we got a point where vehicles can't go any further. And here's a map of the trail. So we are starting in Mosier, which is here, and we're going to go west along this section's called the Mark Hatfield West Trailhead, named after a senator. So I hope to get at least to this dot and then get back. We'll see how it goes, but very scenic views of Columbia River as we go along. The trail is much longer, actually. 16. The end of this trail is 16 miles from Truedale, Portland. So we're not going to get that far, but fairly good information about how the trail works, similar to the other sign. Good quality trail. Here's an elevation. And what great information. Everything you need to know about this trail. Another useful thing to know is bicycles are allowed, and actually might be better on a bicycle. I've seen others on the trail, and everyone else I've seen has been on a bike. And as you can see here, it's nicely paved, good for a bike to use. But today, we're going to be on foot. So, about a mile into it, and we're climbing up now, maybe a few hundred feet from our starting altitude. And we got the bicycles climbing up as they go. And we're surrounded by these loose, crumbly rock. It's everywhere around here, even at my campground 5 miles away. I believe they call this stuff basalts. And it's a dark gray, kind of has sharp corners when it's broken up. And it's everywhere. The plants managed to grow into it, surprisingly. Not a whole lot of topsoil. But it goes on and on and on. And you can see just this massive cliff with those basalt rocks all loosely there. So I'm really glad we have this nice paved trail and a fence on the side, which is nice, and it's done in good taste. There's no chain link fence or ugly fencing, so it makes the views pretty. And there is a little road noise. The highway is there. That's I-84 down below. You see the big trucks, so we can hear that highway. Over there with those big cliffs, might be hard to see, but the cliffs are sloping down. Must be some geology. Almost looks like the top, it crests at the top, and now the ridges are level, and then on the other side it goes down. So some kind of geological upheaval occurred here. And those cliffs are in Washington State. So along the path here they have these nice observation point, paved and made in stone. The Columbia Gorge, a work of art to be given the devotion of a lifetime. This was built in 2000, so this is a 25-year-old observation point. Very beautiful and great location to view the Columbia River. You can see a train across the river. That's in Washington State. Very interesting rail line over there with lots of tunnels. Down below, 18-Mile Island. That's accessible only via boat. There's a little boat ramp there, that little white spot. And you may not see the orange balls along the power line going from here over the water to that island to give that island electricity. And then way up in the distance up there is Hood River Bridge that crosses from Oregon into Washington. And then over here, the opposite side, this river is about 0.9 miles across. I just looked it up. So this is originally, when it was built in 1916 by John A. Elliott. Conflicts between the railroad and the highway engineers required the tunnel and this road to be built up here instead of down close to the river. We're 300 feet above the river now, and the engineer had to build a tunnel in these basalt cliffs instead of down by where the railroad is. This tunnel was originally designed for the cars of the time, Ford Model Ts. And the Model T could fit through here. 2 Model Ts going either direction. But as modern cars got bigger, it became more and more difficult for two-way traffic to occur through this narrow tunnel. It's maybe 15 feet wide. They managed to keep it running with signal lights for a few years, one-way traffic at a time, and then the light would change and traffic would go in the opposite direction for some period of time. But they had a lot of problems with cars creating a traffic jam, falling rocks on either side that were waiting. And in the 1950s, they actually closed this down and filled it in. It wasn't until 1995 when the Senator Mark Hatfield wanted to recover this tunnel. And this work, all of these bulwarks made out of wood, had been built in 1995 as part of the rehabilitation of the tunnels. And now there are no cars here at all. Down below near the railroad these days there's I-84 that's really wide and can handle modern high-speed traffic. So kudos to the senator from Oregon, Mark Hatfield, for doing a great job restoring a historic roadway, now a pathway and a bikeway for campers in Oregon and the world to enjoy. Look at this. Beautiful. See here they have a warning, entering burned area, be aware. Potential hazards include falling trees and rocks. They've been having forest fires all through this region. It's been really dry. As you can see, the grass is tan, light tan, yellow. It crackles when we walk on the grass. Down there, and it's quite steep. It is a little greener, but you can see the bottom halves of the trees are singed up. And I'm told that the other side of the river also burned on a different date. But this isn't unique. We've been driving through Wyoming, Montana, and see similar sites like this in worse than this. Areas where the trees are just completely blackened. But Mother Nature bounces back quite remarkably. These little pine saplings shoot right up immediately after a fire. And we've also passed areas in Montana that the forest was burned last year, and already there's dozens of these little saplings popping up to fill the gap. Mother Nature has a way of dealing with forest fires. So we've been continuing to climb uphill, and now we're 471 feet above in altitude, and I think the highway is maybe 150 feet, 200 feet, so I'm guessing we're 300 feet above that highway. You can see the tops of pine trees still below us. This slope is so steep that if I even tried to walk down there, I'd be in trouble quickly. There's the Columbia River, there's I-84, and got these nice well-constructed walls. I don't know if these are original to the 1916 highway, but they're classy. I like the way this is built. Just a very enjoyable, beautiful walk. And the river's getting a little narrower here. That's the Fort or the Hood River Bridge over there. I don't know if we're going to get that far. There's the railroad below and the highway, I-84. And we're kind of reached a crest now. We're at the highest point, it seems. At least the highest point of the path. The mountain slope continues up. The gorge of Columbia River is very steep on both sides. You can see the Washington side over there, how steep those slopes are. It's the same thing on this side. Maybe it's a little harder for you all to see how steep it is. So any kind of road or railroad has to be kind of dug into the sides of the mountains, often with tunnels and a lot of moving earth in order to get a flat spot to build a path. Well, we've been hiking for 1.2 miles. I've already gone past the highest point of this segment of path. And I think we're the only people walking out here. Everyone else is riding bikes. So if I come back here, might be with a bike. So we're about halfway to the next trailhead with a restroom and all that. So rather than trying to make that, we're just going to turn back to where we started. And that'll probably make this total walk 3 hours, which is good. Especially because it's about 90 degrees and only getting hotter. So, on our way back, enjoying it. So, going down the hill here, back to the place we started, and now I'm looking east, and the sun's up a little more. Just a really nice view of the Columbia River. Here's a spot in the tunnels that they did not restore in 1995. So this looks like the original 1916's stairwell. And I don't know where that goes because there's a iron gate here. And it's locked. They don't want you going out there. So I think they just chose not to restore that part. Don't really need it though. At best it'll just go down to the level of where the railroad is. And inside the tunnel here, it's rather nice, especially on a hot day. I don't know how well you could see, but the tunnel is cool and dark. And it's just a nice little rest waypoint here to maybe get a drink, sit down. They actually have a concrete step along the wall here, so you could just sit down and enjoy the cool for a little bit before getting back out into that 90-degree weather at the end of the tunnel. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. My camera doesn't show this really well, but I'm walking uphill to the east at the highest point along our trek here on this segment, going back toward Mosier, Oregon. Here are the two power lines that go over to 18 Mile Island. So yes, straight ahead, you can see that crest. That's about the highest point we've done. I think it's 480 feet elevation. give or take a little. It's hard to describe how pretty it is in the scale of things. The Columbia River is about a mile wide, and it's just really rugged gorge on both sides. Right now it's really dry. In the winter, this would be snow covered and rough. But I'm here in August, and I could see for miles out into Washington. Can't see far into Oregon because there's a cliff right here, the side of the gorge.